Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Camden tonight. Kevin O'Ryan is my name from Racing TV. I'll be your host for this evening. Of course, tonight is our first Irish Sun Cheltenham preview night, kindly sponsored by Novibet. Apologies for being late. I was hot-footing it from a Thurles racecourse, and I didn't have my partner in crime with me today, Fran Berry. If I don't have Fran, I'm not good at technology. I get lost. So I passed the Camden probably around 4 times looking for parking this evening. So my apologies. Fran will be back with me tomorrow, so we won't get lost going to Dundalk. Fantastic odds ahead of the festival at Novibet as well. When we come to our handicaps, playing out on the first 7 places by Novibet. So as I say, make sure log into Novibet, in with a tenner, you'll get a €70 free bet and loads of special offers, which we will mention on many of occasions throughout the night as well. Guys, you're all very welcome.
Thanks, Kev.
Martin, we're feeling sorry for, we know the Irish are going to dominate at Cheltenham for yet another year. But we had to even up a little bit.
I know.
UK's greatest pundit.
I've been looking forward to this, to be fair, because I felt like I had to come to Ireland to experience the full Cheltenham experience. And I think most of the horses I'm going to be tipping tonight are Irish trained. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a good week ahead. Plenty of punters in the room, I'm sure, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
And obviously you're privileged as well to sit next to the great.
Absolutely, yeah. And the blogger.
And the blogger. We'll come to the blogger in a second.
Never mind the jockey.
Can we just say you are my agent?
Johnny,
Forgot
what's
that.
this, your 25th Cheltenham preview you've done so far this year?
No, it's about half of that, Kevin. 6 in the day and 6 in the evening. So not too bad.
And it's good to have you back, Sanders, as well. Let's see if he's doing that, but I found this good better than the
Yeah, we're going back in with Paul Bourne on Tuesday. So that'll be interesting to see Tuesday to 4 days, Tuesday to Friday, and see how we get on, yeah?
How long is this?
6 years, 2020. The COVID anyway, whatever it is, 2020.
You look on back.
Yeah, I am, because I'd say it'll be exciting. I'll be playing at a slightly different level to what I was playing at myself, I'd imagine.
Blogger, great to have you here.
Great to see you. Great to be here. Who wants some winners, baby? Come on. Let's get some winners. Lift him, Jack.
How's the Guinness in the Camden?
In
Camden, how's the Guinness?
decent Guinness. But can I be honest? It was better in trim last night.
Kev, he hasn't been drinking Guinness to the Governor. It's fine. He's English.
I had my skinful last night.
We should know that he's very particular about his Guinness. Blogger, really enjoyed your take on Australia. That's very enjoyable. And give all of us behind the scenes tour of Australia.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. First time going out there. A few years ago, I met a few Aussie lads and they all told me Melbourne was the sporting capital of the world. And, you know, Aussies being Aussies, I thought they were talking a load of bollocks. Within a few weeks of being out there, they're not wrong. They live for the punt. They live for sport. They live for having a drink. Every pub you go into, you can gamble, you can eat, you can drink, you can watch sport. There's 20, 30 TVs all over the place. They just do it properly. I can't wait to get back out there. The Melbourne Cup week is one of the best weeks I've ever experienced. And there's a real community in Melbourne for sport in general with the AFL, all of the horse racing and stuff like that. They do it to another level. It was a privilege to be there, and I'll be back in September, Kevin.
Sounds like we should all emigrate, doesn't it? Sounds like we should all emigrate to Aussie.
We all thought Dublin was the sporting capital of the world, didn't he?
No, I'm there at Cheltenham from Monday to Thursday.
Oh, Monday to Thursday.
I'm on a 7 p.m. train back to London, go home, get the shorts and vest on, and then I'm in Benidorm at 5 a.m. So, yeah.
He has a life, isn't he?
It's going to be weird, Kevin.
Anything to look forward to Cheltenham? You working there for the week?
Yeah. I preferred riding there, to be honest. But yeah, it's a good week, isn't it? Looking forward to some of the racing. And this year in particular, I think, because there's no odds-on shots bar Lassie Mout, who might not be an odd shot anymore. So it's going to be a good week's racing.
Good stuff, Darragh. You have a stellar book of rides to look forward. Now, how many rides roughly do you think you'll have?
Maybe Tuesday could be maybe 1 or 5 days, maybe 3, and after that I'd say we should have 4 or 5 every day then for the rest of the week. So yeah, looking forward to it, sir. Great place to be going over rides and plenty of chance as well. So hopefully we be able to knock one in.
And you're having a fantastic season, career best so far.
Yeah, great season. You know, with a great start and good autumn. A little bit quieter maybe in the new year, but no, kind of Henry kind of targets Cheltenham when you know all his main horses after Christmas. So no, they seem to be in good order and hopefully a bit of luck.
Great stuff. Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick on and concentrate on the action. That's what you're all here for. You're here for information, winners, and we'll start off with the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Johnny Dinnen, is it fair to say the Supreme Novice Hurdle is probably the most strongest renewal of a Supreme we've had in a number of years?
Yeah, it looks that way. It definitely does. And the Mighty Park is after parachuting in here now. He's threatening to be nearly favoured now, the way the markets are shaping up. He's not far off it already. So Old Park Stars drifted out a small bit. So look, we're missing a few. Idaho Sun is out now, that came out there today. So it's still a really, really hot race. You have Old Park Star bringing English farm here, and then you have a whole host of Irish horses. Maybe you've My Paddy Daddy might with some semblance of a chance really too. But look, I don't know, Mighty Park, the vibes seem to be very strong. The fact that they have gone away from what looked like a weaker race in the turners and gone in here is a statement of intent, isn't it? Surely, like they must think he's a really, really good horse, but he'll need to be though. She's coming here on the back of one run in a no race Fairy House. He's almost like he's making his debut here, isn't it? Like, and it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. Look, he's obviously a very smart horse, but geez, I don't know. I could see Leader Dahlia still having a say in this race. Just the way Mullen's horses are coming too, they're really, really coming now. He's winning 3 and 4 races a day there in Ireland with the last 2 weeks. And I'd say he's still going to be a huge force at the festival. So at the moment, I think I'd be against Old Park Star. Something will beat that anyway, in my opinion. I just think he will. I have a feeling they're getting the vibe from people that close to the yard that they think he's a good horse without it being a superstar, a hurdler anyway, for sure. And like you could look at his form, glance at midnight in Cheltenham. I don't know, his next run was against Hurricane Paddy, one easier, but he dominated the race. And I wonder, is Hurricane Paddy any good? And did he even run to his best? He only barely beat Soldier, Reeves and Jappa to see it. Look, I don't know. I have a feeling like he was 5-1 one day in Kempton in his first run over hurdles. You'd imagine that he's after surpassing what they thought. I think he's a very, very vulnerable favourite. I think something will definitely beat him. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't placed.
Okay, your thoughts on Elkeros, Gordon Elliott, and Joseph O'Brien?
Yeah, look, Talk is a very good horse, and so is Elkeros. Like, it's a really deep contest. That's all the more reason why Old Park Star won't win, in my opinion. You could give a case. You could make a case for at least half a dozen horses, and then you have Mighty Park running in the middle of it. You don't even know what the hell he's going to do. He could be a real top horse altogether. But I have a feeling Old Park Star isn't a top horse.
So you will take on Old Park Star?
Yes, it'll be a disastrous start for me if he won anyway. Yeah. I think he has a chance, yeah. I think the vibes from him are good. I'd say they were amazed he was beaten at Christmas. And like I'd say he's a very smart horse in his own right.
Martin, the Supreme Novices.
Yeah, I'm getting warmer on Old Park Star, to be honest.
So you totally disagree with everything?
I don't totally disagree with it, but a couple of the horses that I would have respected a bit more against him, because I was erring that way as well, thinking it was a deep race. Well, Idaho Sun's gone. I would have given him a big each way chance. He's out. Talk the Talk, slight vibes that he might end up switching to the Turners, because Mighty Park obviously is now parachuted in here, as Johnny said, and I think they were getting a little bit windy about whether this was going to be the race they wanted to run in or not, and I wouldn't be surprised if he switched. If Talk the Talk switched, Idaho Sun out, suddenly it doesn't look as good a race. I'd give Sober a bit of a chance, but the vibes are again that he might go over the longer trip. So I think the race is cutting up a little bit. And actually, since that news, you're getting a bigger price about Old Park Star today than you were 24 hours ago, which is amazing, really. It was a 15 to 8, 7 to 4 generally yesterday, maybe a bit of 2 to 1 around, but you can get 5 to 2 at the moment. Look, he's rock solid. He's won at Cheltenham. He's achieved a high level of form. I'm not all over him. I think there are better betting races over the course of the 4 days than the Supreme Novices, to be perfectly honest. But I'm certainly not dead against him. You know, he's a good horse. He's won at the track. He's achieved a high level of form, bolted up twice. There's nothing really not to like about him in terms of, you know, he's very professional, bus of a ride, jumps well, travels well. Maybe the 2 horses that I see against him, El Kairos, I'd have time for, but I think he might be a little bit of a pig off the bridle, to be honest. And it's dependent on whether horses are good enough to get him off the bridle, but he definitely hangs when he comes off it. Maybe he's way better than them. and they might not get him off the bridle. But if they do, I think he's vulnerable temperamentally. My daddy Paddy I'd have a bit of time for as well. He's a strong traveller, jumps really well. Flight submitted at Aintree last time didn't help him at all. So I'd have a bit of time for those two. But Old Park Star, he won't be unplaced. He will not be unplaced. He'll run to 150. He might run to a little bit higher than that. And, you know, he can definitely win. But as I say, there are better betting races, in my opinion, over the course of the week.
Okay, he's been a bit vegetable, I must see.
Yeah, look, maybe so. Look, I do think he's a good horse, Old Park Star, but I have a feeling that at least one horse will beat him, though.
Yeah, the thing is that Mighty Park might be the second coming, but he's bred to be a staying chaser. He's massive. It was heavy ground. He went off a gallop. Yeah, the time was pretty good, but on bad ground. Totally different race. Like, suddenly there's 5, 6, 7 horses that get competitive with him very early on in a race. How is he going to react to that? I've no idea. I've no doubt he's a good horse, but I think he's going to be a 2.5 mile, maybe 3 mile chaser next year. He's only half a point bigger than Old Park Star at the moment, which to me, on what we've actually got evidence of the form book, is wrong. You know, he did get beaten in his point to point as well, so he's not like the Frankel of the jumps, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, interesting thoughts. Aidan Coleman, if you're back riding, that's the one you'd like to be on.
I hate to be boring by picking a favourite, and it's probably the only favourite of the week I like, but I love Old Black Star. I can't buy into Mighty Park just yet. You know, if you look at although as impressive as he was on his run, the second horse is low 120s. The third horse will probably never win a race again. I'd just like to see a lot more of him before he comes to a race like the Supreme Novice. I just think Old Park Star has just achieved an awful lot more, and he's a more solid bet. I can add much more to it than Martin has said, but I'd just like to have seen a lot more from Mighty Park. You know, his brother won an RSA, was a Gold Cup kind of horse. I just think he's an extra horse.
Okay, Darragh, you've no riding the Supreme Novices, but if you did have the choice of something in it, of one in it, what would that be?
I like Talk to Talk. I thought he was very impressive in Leopardstown the last day. You know, to come from one looked an unpromising position when I thought Jack and Paul can control the race on the likes of Ballyfad and King Rascal Grey. I think they're two smart novices as well. You know, and if he'd got beaten that day, you'd have said he was a little bit unlucky, you know. You know, he would have won the time before that as well. I think he's done nothing wrong, and I think he's a horse that's improving. I think El Kairos, he was going to be the most impressive horse I've seen win a maiden hurdle until he tipped up in Leopardstown. And you know, when you hear Jack and Gordon talk about him, you know, you'd never hear it, like, you know, but they really like Display, so I think he's dangerous as well. But I think Old Park Star, you know, he's done nothing wrong. But I think the likes of Talk to Talk to me have achieved more. You know, he should be coming into this after winning 2 Grade 1s really, and yeah, I think he'll take all the beating, to be honest.
And just elaborate a little bit more for the people who are here this evening about he done really well to win from where he was at the DRF. He'd won behind him. It was horrendous ground that day.
Yeah, and I think like the ground drying out, I think they were actually worried about the ground in Leopardstown, you know, for him that day. I'd say drying ground would be a positive for him. And you know, some people are knocking his jumping a little bit, but I thought, you know, he kind of over jumped the last with Sam, and you know, but I thought he learned from that the last day. But you know, when you watch back the race in Leopardstown, I won the race. They actually went very steady, and you know, JJ had only one behind him turning in, but I thought for him to be able to pick up and nab a Ballyfad and a King Rascal Grey, who I think are going to be key players and turners if they go. I think he's a big chance here, and you'd have to respect Mighty Park as well, honestly, you know, and especially when they're aiming him at the Supreme rather than the turners. But on all known form, Talk to Talk's the horse to be in it.
And it's so difficult to come from that position on very holding, testing ground, isn't it? He showed a good turn of foot that day.
I did, and against good horses. Like, it's not like he was in a novice hurdle, you know, a middle of the weeds, like you're talking about against the best novices at the Dublin Racing Festival. So, I just thought if he didn't win, I think people would have said how unlucky was he, you know. So but to still get the job done, I thought was the most impressive part for me. Anyway.
Okay, Logie, if this is all the tosses to the panel, what is your opinion?
I reckon I'll be down on the rails paying this man a visit to see if he goes top price Old Park Star. And if he doesn't, I'll have the phone on him live, Kevin, calling his bluff. Listen, the more people disrespect Nicky Henderson's novice, the more I'll have on. There's a great saying in racing, the more they drift, the more you shovel. And I'll be shoveling on the rails. You know, he's rated 151. Everyone's knocking him.
Johnny Denise.
He's going to get it this week, I'll tell you that. I'll be gunning for him on the rails. Yeah, everyone said Hurricane Pat's a great horse. He broke that horse's heart 4 furlongs out. He galloped him into the ground. He jumps, he travels, Shishkin out to your Constitution Hill. He doesn't need to be as good as those horses. Listen, Mighty Park, it's very unusual to hear Willie Mullins come out and say 14. One of the greats that he's trained. You know far more than I do about Willie Mullins' mind. But what's he going on about there? Why is he talking about a novice who's had 1 run and comparing him to 14? Very unusual, Kevin. What do you know?
Well, very unusual. I don't know, but all I do is when Willie Mullins comes out and says something like that, it's about, like, as Darragh said, Jack Kennedy doesn't do excitement. But when he does get excited, which is very rare, he gets very excited when you mention El Kairos. That's like Willie Mullins coming out and comparing Mighty Park to the likes of Faheen, because he doesn't do things like that.
Usual.
It's out of character.
And yet you have to respect it. It's strange you got beaten as point to point by Harry Lowes as a 125 horse. But where's the improvement come from? You know, is he a freak? We just don't know, do we? We're betting blind. I was down with Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy this morning in Culuntra House. El Kairos, they're very, very confident. They don't want to start hyping him up too much. He's a push-button horse. David Maxwell, love him or hate him. He's fifth in the bumper. He should have won the Punchestown bumper. There's a lot of improvement to come. He won an egg and spoon race at Thurles. You know, if he's there 2 out, he's probably the quickest horse in the race. Punting-wise, I'm going to have a decent bet on Nicky's to win, and I'm going to have a heavy bet on El Kairos. I can't see him out the first 3.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Look, one thing I would say is that I can see the models, the people that drive the markets, I can see them hating the likes of Mighty Park when the time comes. That's the type of horse they will not fancy in any shape or form. So he's going to go out, and they will back a horse like Old Park Star, who has 3 1s in front of it. Like, I've seen it here with the likes of Imperial Pass, horses, hype horses, the models won't go for them horses at all. So I can see Mighty Park being a 5 to 1 chance by the time the race is, the flag goes up, and I can see Old Park Star being under 2 to 1.
It's brilliant for punters not going in with a heavy odds on Willie Mullins shot, because it makes it such a great guessing game. The puzzle, everyone's got a great opinion, and the thing, everyone's going to be standing there on track with different tickets. You're going to be taking bets on loads of different horses, which is healthy for the sport.
Well, look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the panel here. You've all given a different opinion.
There we go.
Okay, let's move on to the Arkle. Johnny Levine co-picked the board. Will you be taking him on?
I'm not saying to take him on. I think it's probably the best 2 horses are him and the Lambert. Look, it's a bit of a... most people are like, it's a 50-50 situation, isn't it, between the Lamba and Copic the Ward. Some people will fancy one, other people fancy the other. I personally will go for the Lamba. I think he's that bit more done, but I could see why people would fancy Copic the Board too. But he hasn't had the prep that you'd probably would say is ideal. The Lamba probably has a good prep, has a run in open company. You could probably pick holes in his jump, and maybe he probably wants a bit longer trip. But to me, the Lamba is probably the percentage call, but I won't be shocked if Copic the Board took him down. But I kind of would be shocked if anything else won. I've struggled to back Fancy Car Jeezy. I thought that finished legless at Leopardstown. And after that, you're into Romeo Coolio, who probably, whether he runs or not, he'd probably want a bit further. And I think it's impossible to fancy anything else. I actually think the Lamba will win, but I would respect the other one, of course I would.
Are you a little bit concerned about the way he just needs a little bit of, he takes a bit of warming up into his jumping? First couple the last day, spent a little bit of time in the air. Would that be a concern that he might be taking off his feet quite early in the Arkle?
Yeah, you would. But the one thing I would like about the Lamba is a horse that can look in trouble in races and come straight back on the bridle and settle the race in the blink of an eye. He did it in Newbury, and he did it in Sandown, albeit against lower class opposition than here. But on the flip side of that, you could say he couldn't go with Be Aware in Sandown, and he couldn't go up the inside of Saint Segal at Newbury. So he is probably vulnerable early in a race. But I'm hoping that if he can hang on to their coattails, he's within 3 or 4 lengths down the back straight, and with it winning striking distance up and turning in. I wouldn't like to see him much more than a length or two behind turning in at the same time, because it's not an easy track to catch horses. And if a horse in front of you is flying fences, you won't catch Kopek the board that easy if he's buzzing. But I do think Lelamba might just be the percentage call over the other one.
Okay, in the Arkle, like the majority of the races at Cheltenham, are running at a frenetic pace. Tapes go up, they're gone. If Lelamba just gets in the back foot over the first couple, might be a negative.
I'm just not sure this Arkle will be running at a frenetic pace. And as well, like you couldn't get Darragh will tell you now, you couldn't get a nicer 4 fences to start any horse race than the new or the old course at Cheltenham. It's 4 fences in a line, all pretty much uphill. You very rarely see fallers and mistakes early on in the Champion Chase, Arkle, or any of those races, to be fair, till you get to the last 2 turning in. So that would be a positive for Lelamba. I do agree he needs to shape up early on, but he's had kind of more racing than these this season, so he should be a bit sharper. I don't have a strong opinion in this race. I'd love to see Romeo Cooley running this. You might have a better idea than me if he's got a chance of going here.
I know the plan is for him to run.
Yeah, I think I would prefer to run him here than over 3 miles. I think running him over 3 miles would be...
You definitely won't run the ramble.
Well, there you go.
That won't be happening.
I think that'd be an insult to him running over 3 miles. I loved this horse last year. He was always going to be a better chaser. I do agree he's in between trips here. But no joke, if he was lining up tomorrow and all the first 4 in the betting, I would pick him over Lelamba and Kopek de Boer.
Romeo Coolio.
Yeah.
Would you be concerned and worried that Kopek de Boer had an interrupted preparations?
Massively.
Massively.
Massively. Like he was running at Leopardstown at Christmas until declaration time. Is he even going to turn up here? If he didn't go to Punchestown the other day, I'd even believe if he still exists.
Well, he does exist because I saw him Ferry out, you saw him.
Or Ferry House, or wherever he did
a week ago last Saturday.
Yeah, wherever he did his schooling race. But like, where has he been all year? I know he's obviously had an interrupted preparation.
You're not reading the Racing Post and the Irish Sun as well, that said that Kopek de Boer had a chip removed from either a knee or somewhere anyway.
Yeah, it was not great. Yeah, no, I saw all that, but like, it's easy save, isn't it? It's we haven't seen anything of him. And to win an Arkle after 1 run this season when he wasn't the best jumper of a hurdle, I know he jumped brilliant at Navan, but it was a schooling session. Arkle's going to be a different story. He's never jumped as many fences in as close succession as he will next Tuesday if he turns up. Massive difference to Navan. Like, I've ridden around both places. Darragh will tell you now, if you ask about Navan and Cheltenham, Navan is as good a place as you'll ever ride a horse over fences, and Cheltenham is as bad a place as you'd ever ride a horse over fences. And I think that will come into play next week.
Okay, July Flower of Henry's, will she run on this?
I'd say the way the ground is going at the minute, I'd say more likely she'll end up off the Mare's Chase. But yeah, I think either one of the top 2 will win it, to be honest. I think they're 2 completely different horses. Like, obviously, Kopek is, I'd say, all being well, he's a champion chaser sort of horse. I'd say Lelamba, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going 3 miles next year, I would be worried about him, say, swinging down the back in Cheltenham when the likes of, I think they will go fast. I think, like, Cardice isn't going to hang around. Irish Panther, if he goes, definitely won't hang around either. So, look, the vibes are very strong with Kopek, especially since Ferry House, haven't it? Plenty of lads are saying he's the nap of the meeting for them, and and things like that. So I think it's going to be a fascinating race. I think if Kopek puts in a clear round, I think he's at this trip. I think he's going to be the best horse, to be honest. And I think the Lamba, if he can hold his position, I think he will be coming home well. But in his previous couple of races, I know he's I thought Harry Skelton was brilliant, and Calico and Newbury kind of ranged up alongside him, half as down the back, put him in a pocket. But like, that was against, grade 2 handicappers. Like, I think by the time he could get going here, Kopek could be gone on him, you know what I mean? So I think he will be staying on, but I think Kopek is just the best horse at this trip.
And Romeo, obviously, he's won 3. You didn't see much of him from the time the tapes went up the last day. You rode down Mexico way. They went some gallop that day.
Yeah, went some gallop, like, and he's you'd have to like Romeo Coolio as well. Like, he's had, 2 battles and he's won 2 of them. But the only thing is maybe, would you be slightly concerned maybe Leopardstown is 2-1 as well, isn't it? Coming back another furlong, but, you know, sure, Jack's not going to put him on his head in the race either. So, like, if they do go quick, he's one that's definitely going to be coming home as well. And if he does run it, I suppose at 7-1, he's definitely going to be in the mix. But again, I just think by the time he'll be coming home, I think if Kopek is in a good rhythm, I'd say be gone for him. Martin,
Chief was the last novice, the last Arkle winner to win off the back of one run.
He was. No, Western Warhorse did it.
Ah.
2014, I think he did it at a big price, caused a massive upset. One thing to say about this race, just latest exchange prices, there's been a bit of movement today. So Romeo Coolio is out massively in the exchange prices for the Arkle, and he's been backed in for the Brown Advisory. Now, I've no idea whether he goes to Cheltenham, doesn't go to Cheltenham, goes to Fairy House, whatever, but he's about 16s on the exchanges at the moment. So maybe there's a few vibes that he might not turn up in the Arkle, which I'd understand, to be honest, because I don't think he's an Arkle horse, really. I don't think he's quick enough for it. I get all the points about Kopek de Board. On the positive side for him, they have said that he's had 2 proper racecourse gallops by all accounts to put good horses against him, effectively races, you know, by the sounds of it. So I don't know that that's necessarily going to hold him back, but the fact is that Lulamba keeps on popping out really top class 2-mile performances, and I'd agree with the comments that he's probably going to end up over longer distances, but the last 2 winners of the Arkle are both running the Gold Cup. Django by, admittedly, fortunate to win, but, you know, still managed to win the Arkle, and Gaelic Warrior. So it is a race that over the years has been won by more staying types. They often do go a good gallop. And the other fact is that Lulamba has been running over 2 miles, putting up massive figures. And he's had those races, not won on the running. He hasn't just been getting there. He's been on the bridle, back on the bridle at the second last and cantering. He's a very, very good horse, Lulamba. He's a top class horse. I'd accept that if Kopek de Board is Champion Chase standard, which we don't know at this moment in time. If he is, he might get beat by him. But if he's not, Lulamba will win. So I'd rather be with Lulamba at the prices, and he's slightly bigger at the moment than Kopek de Board. I think Irish Cranford, if he runs, will run really well, because he's a proper 2-miler, proper good ground horse, jumps, travels, does everything right. He just got outstayed a little bit by Romeo Coolio at Leopardstown, but that was a furlong further. So I think he's your each-way bet in the race. There is a chance that he ends up in the Champion Chase, because they were planning on the Arkle, barring mishaps with other horses, but obviously we've now lost Marine Nationale from the Champion Chase, so it's not impossible. So you'd want your non-runner no bet as far as Irish Panther's concerned. But he's the alternative each-way angle into the race in my eyes. Of the front 2 in the betting, I'd prefer Lulamba at the prices.
Okay, an Irish Panther, if you were connections, Johnny, you would be very tempted to let him take his chance in the Champion Chase, wouldn't you?
Well, I suppose he's at an age when he could have a go off a Champion Chase, but it's difficult to see him having a say in the Champion Chase. So I think, like, if look, I don't fancy him in either race, to be honest. There's probably less horse in the Champion Chase, but look, I think he'd give you a thrill maybe in the Champion Chase for a couple of fences. That'd be it, though. You couldn't see him win it either of them. To me, it doesn't really matter what race he wins it anyway, to be honest.
Logger, what's your thoughts? Are you going to get stuck into another Nicky Henderson one?
I am. It's going to be a Nicky Henderson double in the first 2 races. And
It's very simple, this game, isn't it? We've gone into a lot of detail with all the different panellists. Cut straight to the chase, Blogger. Bang, it's going to be a Henderson.
Listen, as a punter, you've got to believe in what you're doing. You've got to go with it, haven't you, boys? You know, you've got to go there. It's your ready. This is your money, your hard-earned spadoolies, Kevin, and I'll be going in there. Everyone keeps on talking trash about Lulamba all season long. One of the biggest robberies in history was when he got beat in the Triumph Hurdle by Ponros. He set that right when he went to punch us down. He slapped him out of the way, beat him a comfortable 4 lengths. I was at Ascot, Kevin, when he made his debut. You go racing most days of the week. You know when you see a really good horse in the flesh? He's one of those. He's like a 6-foot, 18-year-old, leggy, tall, muscular, hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's learning on the job. Aidan, you've ridden a winner of the Arkle, put the kettle on. For me, this horse has been learning on the job the whole time. Nico's been educating him. What he done in the game spirit, beating 152 horses, was bloody impressive. I can't believe people enough of me.
No, I'd agree, but I I'd just like to see him travel a bit better for this. Look, if it was on the new course, I think he'd be an absolute certainty. I just think this could be a bit sharp for him. That's all I'm saying. That's like literally, I don't really have a strong opinion in this. Like, I rode a winner in Arkle, she was about 14-2.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the utmost respect for Kopek the boards. Good friends with David McCarthy, obviously, owns it with his family. The vibes are unbelievable. Willie Mullins thinks this is the second coming. But I'd actually rather back him to win the champion chase at 7-1 next year rather than this year, Johnny. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, look, he's going to be 6-4 to win here this year. You're taking a short price for the champion chase. Then if he doesn't win here, aren't you? Like, you're not getting much bigger than 9-4. So I think I'd be worried about next Tuesday first, and fuck, fuck the champion chase now.
There's a lot of water to go under the bridge for Cheltenham 12 months' time. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge.
There is. I think I'd rather have my money in my pocket if he won.
Kevin, there's going to be a bucket load of paces, the lads have said. Irish Panther, Cargaze and Romeo Coolio. I can see Nico just dropping Luamba in there. And as Aidan said, the first 4 fences are really easy to jump.
You've got to remember, see that if he gets beaten in the Arkle, it'll be a bigger price than 7. So
she will. That's always man who knows betting.
It's also only the blogger would see a horse that we haven't even seen in 8 months. It's going to figure in 12 months' time.
I suppose the flip side to that, you could have said the same thing about Majbury. He was beaten in the Arkle, and if you ran him at 7-1 now, you'd be looking good.
Yeah, I do have a bit of sixes, not a lot. Yeah, we're seeing go out with him, and I think he's the real little.
No, but you were in Gordon's and said this morning you saw Romeo. If he runs in Cheltenham, it is going to be the Arkle.
According to the exchanges, it's currently 22-1. It doesn't look likely. He's by Cave Tara, one of the greatest stallions, in my opinion, produced the likes of Thistlecrack and all sorts. I've got so much time for this horse. He's won 3 Grade 1s already this season. I think Gordon's done an amazing job with him. He's 4 from 4. But this horse reminds me of a former champion trained by Tom Taff, Kicking King. Stepped him up slowly. I'd love to see him run in the Arkle, develop a bit more, and then be a Gold Cup horse next season. I think he's the real deal, but he's going to be one hell of a 3-miler.
Cave Tara's had a champion chase winner, mind.
Some stallion, the producers them all. Phenomenal. A lot of respect to Romeo, but I don't think he's quite the speedy 2-mile type.
Okay, right. That is the Arkle Challenge Course Chase. A lot of split opinion on the panel yet again. Right, we're going to move on to the Champion Hurdle. Blogsy, we're going to start off with you. Will the new line, is he the most likely winner in what looks a very open Champion Hurdle? There's going to be a small field, but there's question marks over them all, including the new line.
Yeah, listen, you've got the top-rated horse in the race, the Brighter Days Ahead, off a 160. It just shows the level in this year's Champion Hurdle. It isn't the greatest race. It's an interesting race, but she's been there twice, and she's been beaten twice. I don't like making excuses for horses. As a punter, I like to see a horse go there and deliver. So for me, Brighter Days Ahead, she's going to get slapped to the side. I also think the ground will be slightly too fast for her. Judging by the markets, it looks confirmed now that Lossiemouth is going to take her chance. And I had this discussion with Gordon yesterday in a preview that great mares should go for the Champion Hurdle. I think it's disrespectful that they're going for a consolation prize in the mares. We've had the likes of Honeysuckle and Annie Power, and it would be a travesty if good horses like that don't take on the geldings. Lossiemouth, she's 3 from 3 at the Cheltenham Festival. In the festival races, 4 from 4 in total. She's an unbelievable mare, but is she quite sharp enough over the 2 miles? I'm not too sure. I heard she was a bit stiff after the DRF when Brighter Days Ahead beat her. The confidence going into the meeting from the Mullins camp was she cannot be beat. She was smashed on the exchanges, smashed in the ring. I'd actually want to take Lossiemouth on this time. Golden Ace, I mean, listen, credit to the horse, you know, she won a Champion Hurdle, but we go back to the fight in 5th here and we look at the new Lion. I'm not going to mention him in the same breath as Isterbrack, but he's won the Ballymore over 2-5. He had that race won. I know Aidan's going to disagree with me here, but I've rewatched that 20 times. Going into the second last there, he's about to take 2 lengths out of field and quicken past all of them. He's had a pipe opener in the International West. Sergino sadly broke down. I think this horse is capable of running past the 160 mark. I think he stays, which you need in a Champion Hurdle horse. I think it's one of the weakest renewals. I mean, Ponros is 10-1. Get the hell out of here. Tutti Quanti or whatever the hell you call it. He won the worst handicap in the world. And Alexi, you know, just leave it out. Listen, the new Lion will probably be my biggest bet of the day. He's a certainty to win the Champion Hurdle. I'll be seeing it.
Here we go.
I tell you one thing, we might never. If Lulamba, Old Park Star, and the new line get beat, we will never see the Blogger again.
I'll be on the train to Benidorm.
You'll be fucking staying in Benidorm, so you will, I tell you.
He'll be emigrating to Australia, yeah. I would say it was a pleasure to do a Cheltenham preview for the Irish Sun and Novy Bet with the great blogger. He got a fortune. That's what. Yeah, well, the best of luck anyway, right, Johnny?
Yeah, look, I like the new line, and he's unexposed, and a lot of these are exposed. Brighter Days Ahead, ground is against it. Lost him out, like it's 50-50 up to maybe today, whether she was going either way. The fact that they didn't even commit her for this race earlier is not a great sign. Look, she has a chance. I think she's the biggest danger to the new line. I think she'll take care of Brighter Days Ahead. I don't fancy anything else in the race, Golden Ace included. And like as Stephen said there, like you've 10 to 1 chances here that have probably no chance. Likes of Ponaris, and you're into legs. It's a weak race, and I think the new line will sit in behind these and come with one run, come with the last. He's a horse that probably has to be reduced late, maybe at the last hurdle. If he clears the last hurdle, I think he'll bolt in myself. I think he'll win well.
And you can see why connections have, well, looks like more than likely Lost About is going to go to the champion hurdle, because it is open. There's question marks over them all. Let her take her chance.
Yeah, I'd respect Lassie Mona. I'm afraid of her now. I'm on the new line, and if the price allows, I'll probably save my money on Lassie Mona. It's the only horse. I was hoping she wouldn't run now, to be fair. I definitely wouldn't have gone near saving it, and if she didn't turn up here. I do think she's the biggest danger still. It'll be interesting to see. I think she's going to wear cheek pieces. Told she might anyway. That might help her again, so that might help and sharpen her up. So she is dangerous. I think she's more dangerous than the rest of them, but I'd still go the new line just about.
Okay, Martin, you can see it looks the obvious thing. Dropping back to 2 miles again. Cheek piece on her. Just help her to sharpen up and travel the early part of the race. The race in the DRS, she was beat after jumping 2 hurdles that day. It was a little bit like the Christmas hurdle I thought at Kempton last year.
Yeah.
Why they would be doing that with her. I'd be much more negative on the new line. Like, he could win because it is potentially a weak race, but I go back through his form and he's beaten Wendigo in a shallow hurdle, who's going for a 3 mile chase.
And will be too slow.
He's beaten the Yellow Clay narrowly in a 2 mile 5 race at Cheltenham.
He won that cozy, didn't he? Harry was just holding on to it.
I'm not sure. You want to watch that 20 times as well before you say it winning cozily, but he just got up from the Yellow Clay on the running
You're
anyway.
starting to make Lozzie a little bit nervous now.
Look, the Yellow Clay he's done nothing for the form, and obviously Final Demand runs in a 3 mile chase and is a 3 mile chaser. And then last time, his only other win, he's beaten Brentford Hope and Nemean Lion. Brentford Hope's retired. It's a Mickey Mouse race. Now, it was a Mickey Mouse race because they went no gallop and you couldn't really judge him on it. But has he got any form that makes him value 5-2 favourite for the champion hurdle against 2 Irish-trained mares who have proven themselves top-class 2 mile hurdlers? In my eyes, he hasn't. I couldn't have Ponaros, couldn't have any of the others good enough, but I would be very focused on Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead. I think it's bogus that Brighter Days Ahead doesn't go at the track. They obviously had a genuine reason last year. And actually, I had a bit of a light bulb moment the other day. I went back to the race and watched back last year's champion hurdle because I'd been reading the quotes, like everybody will do, that Gordon says she was beaten after a hurdle. She never going in last year's champion hurdle. That's not true. She went 1.38 on the exchanges in running as she was jumping the 3rd last. That tells the true story of how she went in the champion hurdle last year. She didn't finish off. She didn't finish off her race.
There must have been blaze.
Well, maybe, but she cantered her way. If you watch it back, she cantered her way to the front at the 3rd last. She was in front on the bridle at the 3rd last. She was. And she's handled everything okay until not finishing off. You know, and maybe that was the issue with her knee, whatever. But she went strongly through the race, got to the front going easily, and she didn't finish off her race. Now, she didn't fire a Punchestown after that either, and obviously she'd had the problem. But she's been back to her best last time out, and she's a big player, but I do respect Lossiemouth as well. But I would be focused very much on the 2 Irish-trained mares. I think they've got the best.
That's very interesting what you say about the betting and running markets, because we were standing down, Self, Gordon, Mouse, Ryan.
Yeah.
The crew.
Niall Hannity was with you, wasn't
Hannity was with us
he? I
as
had the
well.
conversation with him exactly the
I
same.
mentioned Niall Hannity, who said,
He did.
we said when she passed us the first time,
Yeah.
she's not travelling.
Yeah.
And we were then saying to ourselves, I said, Jack is saying to Danny Gilligan and King of Kingsfield, Danny, slow down. You're going too quick for me. I'm out of my comfort zone here. What did you think watching it?
Yeah, I think going off exchanges and all that crack, like the exchanges can't tell everyone, you know, like you'd see that, like, you know, the exchanges are telling you that she's going well, but she didn't look like she was going well to the eye. You know, she's in front of the third last. Like, what did she pass out? The pacemaker? You know. Like,
No, I'm just saying she did get to the front going well at the third last. Now you obviously they know the horse, so
I'd
you.
say all Jack is holding on to his fresh air.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
more times this horses in Thurles today going across the top. Oh, he's 1-6 and betting, but sure he can come down.
No, the point is more. She's not off the bridle, struggling with the undulation. She's not handling Cheltenham. She hasn't finished off her race, but is that because of the track? In my opinion, it's not. So I don't have the track issues with Cheltenham.
No, and I see exactly what you're coming from, and it's all about opinion. I wouldn't fall for she doesn't handle the track either, for the opposite reason to what the exchange was saying last year, that she was beat too early in the race, that it was a complete off day. Something stupid. We were standing there watching them going down to the start. And you know, when they come back on to the canter down,
Yeah.
she half slipped. Just half slipped. And I wonder, did she do something on the way down? And a couple of the lads, and Niall Hannity will tell you this as well, after the race, each of us thought the same thing when we saw her going down to the start. Just there where you come back on onto the canter down, she kind of half jinks sideways. Maybe that's wrong.
Whichever way you put it, the point is more that she didn't finish off her race last year, not because the track is an issue. And if you don't think the track is an issue, then she's a good price. That's the point. You know, I don't really want to get into what it specifically was last year, but whichever way, she wasn't right. And that's probably the reason that she didn't run much better in the champion hurdle. And this year, if she is right, which she was obviously last time, she's got a big chance. But I do think there's not a huge amount between her and Lossiemouth. We've seen that time and again. For me, the better 2 mile hurdle is certainly in receipt of the weight than the New Lion on the evidence that we've got at the moment.
So summing up, Martin.
I'll probably Dutch the pair of them, to be honest. I'll Dutch the pair of them. So back Lossiemouth, back Brighter Days Ahead. Be against them, because there's nothing else I want in the race. I don't think Golden Ace. Listen, she's been brilliant. She has. Nobody can take that away. But I don't think she's at that level. On the sort of, she was very lucky, obviously, last year, wasn't she? She was then put in her place when she came over here to Punchestown. Poneros, I just cannot have. Like, people are saying he got a quiet ride. To me, he was off the bridle halfway down the back at Leopardstown, and he just lacks the experience and lacks the ability. Alexi could run okay if you get in extra places, that sort of thing. Probably going to go well for a long way, but he's not good enough, realistically, if others give the run.
And I think basically the only reason he's running in this race is it's the actual only race at his Johnny that he can run in the Cheltenham Festival, isn't it?
Which one, Alexi?
The Bonnie Ross.
Oh, Paradox. Yeah. Look, I agree with man. I think he's hard enough to fancy myself. But I just think that there is not a lot between Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead on Irish form anyway. And I don't think it'll take a world beater to beat both of them, to be honest. And that's why I'd be with the New Line. I think he's an unexposed horse. And I suppose you could pick holes in his form, but you can probably pick holes in a lot of horses' form in a lot of races here. Like, I don't know, is Brighter Days Ahead was supposed to be going chasing, all this kind of stuff. You know, she was, like, Lossiemouth beat her fair and square. At Christmas, they twisted around the other way. She could have had a hard race at DRF too. The other horses are way better preps as well. And both Lossiemouth and her could have had a hard race too. That could count against horses here too. I don't know. I'd be surprised if New Line is beating this company.
You know, Kevin, you've got the second favourite, the third favourite, and the fourth favourite. They're all mares. But not one of those mares are a Honeysuckle or an Annie Power. And they made a huge mistake with the race placing of Any Power, running her in a stayers hurdle. She didn't stay the 3 miles behind John Joe's more of that. She was a 2-miler. I think they're making a huge mistake with Lossiemouth running her over the 2. I think, if anything, she's the stayers hurdle horse. Both of these horses, the 3 mares, they're nowhere near the league of Annie and Honeysuckle, and I'm not saying they need to be, but I think if the gelding, the new line, can't step forward, then it's really poor.
Very interesting part. In your opinion?
I literally think you're all mental. Cheltenham is the most specialist track probably in racing. Lossiemouth has been to Cheltenham 4 times and won 4. Whether it's a track or not for brighter days ahead, I think it is. Maybe she just doesn't travel. I don't know, but I just think Lossiemouth at 7-2 or whatever is as good a bet as you go and get for the week. Couldn't have the new line on my mind. As I said, right, I don't think he's fast enough. I'm not sure about his jumping. It's 2 hurdles downhill here that I think he might struggle with. If you look at him in the Turners last year, he was millimetres away from coming down. As I say, from being around Cheltenham numerous times, horses act there and horses don't. Lossiemouth has been there 4 times and won 4. I really don't think there's any more to add to it than that.
Okay, Darragh.
Yeah, no, I like the new line, and to be honest, you know, it's you can pick holes in his form or whatever, but it's hard to see him get, like, he's only been beaten once, and that's when he fell in the fighting 5th. It's hard to see him getting lucky, you know, 6 out of the 7 times he ran at the same time, you know. I'd agree with Aidan, his jumping is, you know, questionable, but I actually see a video up recently of Harry Skelton schooling. I think it was the last week or that, up over 4 hurdles at Mom, and he absolutely left him rip, and he looked very good. I don't think you can read into the form the last day at Cheltenham. You know, I think Harry and Nico were watching each other at the start. I'd say Harry, and like, all he wanted was a fair round, but I don't think the way the races ran and the way he was riding them, he was ever going to be that impressive, you know. But I just think he's still, you know, like, that outfit should know if they have a champion hurdle horse or not, and they believe, and they've always said he is. So I think I fancy brighter days ahead more than Lossiemouth, to be honest. I don't think she's a real 2-miler. You know, brighter days ahead, you know, you only have to forgive her 1 run at the festival for me, I think, and that's last year, where she never looked comfortable. The year before, she didn't run bad against Gold and Ace either, and she has been to entry and won there as well. So I don't think he's travelling to the UKs, but yeah, I'd be strong with the new line. I think he's the improver, and I think, you know, with a clear round, I think he'll win.
Okay, that's the main races on day 1. We're going to come back to the handicaps later on. Don't forget our sponsors at NoviBet. Click on tonight into an account. Put in a tenner, you get a €70 free bet straight away. 7 places throughout all the handicaps throughout the week. A lot more specials offers with our sponsors, NoviBet.